Welcome back. We are here on Inside Tennessee. We've got special guests this morning, Sheriff James Berrong of Blount County and Sheriff Tom Spangler from right here in Knox County. We wanted to tell you we're going to spend several minutes now in this block of the morning show talking about something that occupied and upset many of us in this building and in this county and other counties, and that is dealing with bogus and real threats regards to security at schools. It's something that we need to talk about, and it's something I think everybody's wrestling with, whether you're in law enforcement or journalism. But Susan, you wanted to start with maybe an anecdote.
I did. So this week I have a 16-year-old grandson who's at Berrong High School, and I get a text about 11 o'clock in the morning that shows me the threat that had come from someone, and I think it ended up being somebody from West Valley School. It mentioned Berrong, but not Berrong High. But anyway, he wanted to come home, and I said, nah, that's not happening, right? But surprisingly, the school was letting a lot of people leave to go home, and I was a little surprised at that. But talk about that. What is the current law? Where we see there have been, 14 threats or something like that this past week from 11-year-old kids, from 14-year-old kids. Are they real? Is it a kid trying to get out of school early? What are you seeing with these, and what does the law say? What happens to these kids that are making these threats?
Well, there has been a change in the law as far as making threats of mass violence right now.
Right.
It has changed to a Class E felony, I believe it is.
The equivalent as a juvenile, of course.
That's
right.
correct.
Classify things like that, but yes.
So we're able now to put a little bit of teeth into those who are making those threats. But the majority that we've been having here lately, they have been, fortunately, they have been bogus. We have had a gun come into a school. We were fortunate to be able to find that gun. And but yeah, what it does, and it brings all of us together again. The resources are astronomical that go into this, and I don't think that those individuals are thinking about that part of it. But also what I want to say is that it takes away the students that are in there trying to learn, and it's taken away their education, and they're not thinking of that. They're not thinking of anything. So I think Sheriff Berrong as well sees the same thing, if not.
Right,
we're dealing with
nobody's immune to it, and it takes away from their service to their community also to protect the roads and the residences and things that nature. I used to call it back in May, or usually in April or May every year, it's bomb season. You know, the kids would call in to get out of school a few days earlier. But times have changed. This is a very serious, and everything a threat we get, we take very serious, and it takes a tremendous amount of resources with that.
Do you see it more after a school shooting like we had one, last week in Georgia?
You hate to say copycat, but
right.
it's kind of like that. But you do see that the heightened calls that come in because of that.
And we were talking off air. You know, we all grew up in a generation where we didn't have laptops and tablets and cell phones. And what impact do you think that kids, even elementary age, what that has on the ability to do that, or to see things that might cause them to think, hey, this might be cool, or hey, I have a problem, watch this, I'm going to act out like this. How do you think those devices have changed?
Go ahead.
Well, the technology, the communication with the phones and the computers it's a game changer for us. Things like that communicate with each other. They're able to disseminate something just across the board at a heartbeat of one keystroke, and that makes it so much easier to set up word of mouth or finding a note in the bathroom. Those days are over.
That's right.
Is it mostly through social media or some online threat that you're seeing, Sheriff?
I guess you'd say it's 50-50. Some of it's online, some of it is other students hearing things.
Word of mouth, right.
Word of mouth saying, hey, I heard so-and-so say they had a gun in their backpack or a bomb in their backpack, and those are two instances that we have had.
And the flip side, that word of mouth really gets a little bit dangerous, because we all know
it does.
You know, maybe the pettiest group in the world might be middle school, and it's a very easy way to to cause problem without looking like the troublemaker.
I wanted to ask you two something that really we have been struggling with in the newsroom. John and I, as journalists, we want to do what is proper and right in terms of notifying the public, but we don't want to allow this stuff to sort of spread and encourage it. We're not interested in that. We want to do what's responsible while being journalists. And so one of the questions that we struggled with last week in the newsroom was, what can be done? And I'm curious, because I almost feel like something disruptive needs to be done, that disruptive being something nobody had thought about, or that changes, or that is a significant different approach. Are we too early yet, or have you all sort of thought about in law enforcement, all right, we need to be thinking about X as a means of addressing this? Because it's not going away.
No, it's not. One of the things that I've talked about and haven't gotten with Chief Noel and Sharm Allen, our DA, is maybe sitting down and do a little PSA that we can put together and then take it to the schools and let them listen to, here's what's going on, here's what's going to happen to you if you make these threats, here's what's going to happen to your family, here's what's going to happen to your future. Letting them know that how serious this really is. Again, education is a big part of it, but we also have to instill the law enforcement side of it as well, and I think that's very important.
For example, we had a 10-year-old today put out a hit list, or she said they got a hit list, and we went through it, we investigated, and she's the one that did it at 10 years old. So the dress, the juveniles in that age range, it's kind of hard to do.
And do either of you think they understand the consequences?
I don't think so. I think what he said is a great idea, to PSA, to let them know the consequences.
And that's where juvenile court really should come in, where there needs to be, a mental health evaluation. What services does this family need? What can we do? Is this a child acting out, or is this a real threat? And we've seen real threats as young as 11, but so many do act out. Let me ask real quick, what's the solvability percentage of these things? How many of these cases, when you get either a digital or word of mouth threat, are you able to figure out who did it?
Very high. Very high.
Very high.
I think that they don't understand that we have capabilities of being able to find out. When you put something on that computer, we can find it out.
Good.
We're going to take a quick break on Inside Tennessee. Back with more of our conversation with two law enforcement veterans, the Sheriff of Knox County and the Sheriff of Blount County, right after this.